ESPN is changing WWE forever in such a massive way. Triple H and Cody Rhodes both on ESPN. We got to talk about what they said. Also, in addition to that, TNA on Peacock. What's going on with that? Is that a legitimate thing? Well, it's a possibility. So we're definitely talking about that. And we have an update on Roman Reigns. And as always, if you guys want more videos like this, go ahead and click that subscribe button. This way you never miss a video on the channel. I'm going to keep you guys updated along the way. Every single day there's tons of news like this one. Ladies and gentlemen, Roman Reigns, we thought he was being written off of TV. A lot of people thought he was being written off of TV, especially because we know that Roman Reigns is supposed to film for the Street Fighter movie. Now, we actually got a report from PW Insider. The Street Fighter film does not begin production until September. Now, Roman Reigns is actually slated to work for 4 weeks on the set of that movie, and his commitments for that will begin September 2nd and finish during the week of September 26th, as long as the production for everything runs on time. Now, with that being said, Cody Rhodes is also in the movie, but he's not expected to have like this much time dedicated to it, which is fine. But there's a reason why I'm bringing this up. Why? Roman Reigns is being advertised for Raw next week on Monday. So a lot of people thought that Roman Reigns was being written off. Roman Reigns is going to Hollywood. Roman Reigns won't be there on Raw. That doesn't appear to be the case at all. Especially when you look at how Raw ended with LA Knight and CM Punk arguing with each other, Roman Reigns arguing with CM Punk. Very clearly, WWE is building something for Clash in Paris. Now, I could sit here and speculate all day. Obviously, we have to keep watching the show to understand or to better understand what is happening. But I think WWE is clearly in a position where they are working on some sort of multi-man match for the show, for Clash in Paris. And of course, with Seth Rollins now being the World Heavyweight Championship, this is a great way of kind of, being able to successfully defend the belt. LA Knight, CM Punk, Roman Reigns. This would be a pretty big fatal four-way. We have to see the direction that WWE chooses to go. Now, obviously, with Roman Reigns going Hollywood, we have to know that moving forward, there is a very big possibility that after Clash in Paris, Roman Reigns would then get written off of TV. And how WWE chooses to do that would be very interesting. But I think all of this will basically depend on who debuts and joins the group, because I think that's the way WWE will write off Roman Reigns. Whether it's Ricky Saints or Ethan Page or whatever it may be, I think WWE will have somebody help Seth Rollins defend the belt successfully, and then that would be the way that they kind of move forward with Roman Reigns. But he could definitely make Clash in Paris. I think he'll definitely be part of Clash in Paris. The route that they choose to go will be very interesting. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, he's still here with us. That brings us to our next topic. We got to talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, WWE, obviously leaving Peacock. Now this brings us to TNA potentially joining Peacock. I want to read you guys a tweet from Blake Avnon. He works in media, advertising, brand executive, does coverage for the MLB, NFL, UFC, NBA. Today he put out a tweet and he was talking a little bit about TNA and TNA's talks with Peacock. So he shared something really interesting because of the fact that WWE is now with ESPN. Essentially, Peacock will remain a hub of some sort for professional wrestling. Now, in his tweets, he says WWE's move to ESPN in 2026 marks the end of PLEs on Peacock, but it doesn't mean Peacock is leaving the wrestling business. Sources say WWE and TKO are supporting TNA Wrestling's push for a $10 million streaming deal with Peacock as a front runner. With the multi-year NXT TNA crossover already active, this gives NBC Universal a cost-effective replacement as WWE shifts to ESPN. TNA's talks with Peacock aren't just about distribution, they're about repositioning. As WWE exits, TNA steps in. Quietly, NBC Universal is laying the groundwork for a new pipeline through TNA and AAA Lucha Libre. He also goes on to say the chessboard's in motion. So we have heard tons of rumors about TNA potentially going to the CW, to NBC, right? Sci-Fi is part of NBC, USA Network, part of NBC. And we have also heard a lot of rumors about TNA potentially going to A&E. We've heard rumors of them potentially going to CBS Sports, which would make a lot of sense considering the fact that we know Invicta FC, also owned by Anthem, is part of CBS Sports. there's a lot of rumors here, but I want to kind of dive into this for a second because it makes a lot of sense. It makes so much sense. First of all, WWE helping TNA establish a better TV deal does a lot to impact AEW. Whether people want to admit it or not, if TNA gets on a large enough network, they can definitely do some damage. No, I'm not dumb. I'm not saying TNA is going to kill AEW. I'm just saying they are going to do extremely well with a new television deal, especially when you're positioned with WWE. The second thing is TNA Plus is a really good streaming service, but for TNA to get $10 million a year, I think part of that means you're going to have to move the streaming service to Peacock, which would be incredible because right now the belief is that WWE archives will remain on Peacock. And then you have to look at AAA. NBC Universal owns Telemundo, which is a Spanish-speaking channel. They could bring in AAA for that and then put in AAA on Peacock with American, English commentary as well as Spanish commentary. This provides WWE a huge safety net because if they go to ESPN, which obviously they are, but when they go to ESPN, WWE now has relationships with all these different partners. And on top of that, their affiliated shows, which would be TNA Impact, WWE would be cross promoting with them on those same networks. So, like, it's just a really big move. But the company that benefits the most is TNA, which is what I would love to see. And that's what I'm hoping for. And that brings us to our final topic, ladies and gentlemen. Cody Rhodes was on ESPN. Triple H was on ESPN. Roman Reigns was on ESPN. ESPN is about to change WWE forever. But more specifically, the thing that needs to be talked about here is how. So there's been a lot of conversation on social media that WWE is afraid of cancel culture because of the Brock Lesnar return. Triple H was asked about this on ESPN, and Triple H outlines the same thing Michael Cole said on Raw. Hey, we made the call. It's time to come home. Brock Lesnar's back. In addition to that, Cody Rhodes was asked about Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar's name getting brought up is interesting because nobody's bringing up the fact that his name is listed in that lawsuit. So Cody Rhodes talks about how Brock Lesnar fits with the WWE vision moving forward, being in the sense that it's like sports and entertainment. And I think this is where things are becoming really interesting. One, WWE does not care about the cancel culture mob anymore. Like, that's done with WWE. WWE is fully moving past that. They are not worried about it. And also, it feels like in a weird way, ESPN and a lot of these other companies are kind of on the same boat. And so we've seen this happen with UFC where, Conor McGregor has tons of allegations, tons of things being brought up. John Jones, same thing. And ESPN and UFC's relationship has not been screwed over because of it in the slightest. And I feel like in a way, ESPN and Disney as a specific company, they are literally having that same approach with WWE, which means that WWE in the future is just simply all about bringing the best possible creative. And that's going to be really interesting to see because the fact that they don't care about the cancel culture stuff anymore, the fact that these questions are even being asked, and by the way, nobody's bringing up the Janelle Grant lawsuit in this case, it's a weird dynamic. Weird dynamic. But with WWE and ESPN being in a partnership, that also means ESPN, which is known for sports journalism, is going to be part of protecting kayfabe. And that's the biggest change that WWE will see. They are going to use a legitimate network for journalism to push stories further. And the dynamic of that is incredibly weird. But it will be interesting to see how it affects them, whether it be positive or negative. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the Angle Show.